والله جعل لكم من أنفسكم أزواجا وجعل لكم من أزواجكم بنين وحفدة ورزقكم من الطيبات أفبالباطل يؤمنون وبنعمة الله هم يكفرون.
Before the advent of Islam, women were often treated worse than animals. Women back then were treated as objects, rather than human beings. In some cultures, they got buried, alive or inherited. Still worse, women in some nations practice self-immolation, to join a deceased husband in the next life. Islam radically changed this miserable situation by unequivocally recognizing the humanity of women and emphasizing their rights. Prophet Muhammad wanted to put a stop to all cruelties to women. He preached kindness towards them. He told the Muslims, "Fear Allah in respect of women." The Prophet of Islam, Muhammad peace be upon him, said, "Women are the twin halves of men." The Quran emphasizes the essential unity of men and women in a most beautiful simile. Your wives are your garment, and you are a garment for them. The garment is the grace, the beauty, the embellishment of the body. So too are wives to their husbands, as their husbands are to them. The Prophet Muhammad was most emphatic in enjoining upon Muslims to be kind to their women. He said, "Fear Allah regarding women. Verily you have married them with the trust of Allah, and made their bodies lawful with the word of Allah. You have got rights over them, and they have got rights over you in respect of their food and clothing according to your means. And the best of you are those who behave best to their wives." And a Muslim must not hate his wife, and if he is displeased with one bad quality in her, let him be pleased with one that is good. And the more civil and kind a Muslim is to his wife, the more perfect in faith he is. The Prophet Muhammad was full of praise for virtuous and chaste women. He said, "The world and all things in the world are precious, but the most precious thing in the world is a virtuous woman." On other occasions the Prophet said, "The best property a man can have is a remembering tongue about Allah, a grateful heart, and a believing wife who helps him in his faith." In Islam, there is absolutely no difference between men and women, as far as their relationship to Allah is concerned, as both are promised the same reward for good conduct, and the same punishment for evil conduct. The Quran says, "And for women are rights over men similar to those of men over women." The Quran says that women have souls in exactly the same way as men, and will enter paradise if they do good. Enter into paradise, you and your wives, with delight. Your wives are a tilth for you, so go into your tilth when you like, and do good beforehand for yourselves, and be careful of your duty to Allah, and know that you will meet Him, and give good news to the believers. And as for those of you who die and leave wives behind, they should keep themselves in waiting for 4 months and 10 days, Then, when they have fully attained their term, there is no blame on you for what they do for themselves in a lawful manner, and Allah is aware of what you do. The most complete of the believers in faith is the one with the best character, and the best of you are those who are best to their women. The Messenger of God Muhammad did not strike a servant or a woman, and he never struck anything or anyone with his hands. The Prophet said, "O Allah, I sternly warn against violating the rights of the two weak folks, orphans and women." The Prophet said, "If anyone has a female baby and does not bury her alive, or slight her, or prefer his male children to her, Allah will bring him into paradise. Indeed, I order you to be good to women, for they are under oath in your marriages. You do not own them." The virtuous wife, if her husband bids her, she obeys him. If he looks at her, she pleases him. If he gives her an oath, she fulfills it. And if he is absent from her, she guards herself and his property. A woman is closest to God's face if she is found in the core of her house, and the prayer of the woman in the house is better than her prayer in the mosque. The Prophet said, "I was shown the hellfire, and that the majority of its dwellers were women who were ungrateful." It was asked, "Do they disbelieve in Allah, or are they ungrateful to Allah?" He replied, "They are ungrateful to their husbands, and are ungrateful for the favors and the good charitable deeds done to them. If you have always been good benevolent to one of them, and then she sees something in you not of her liking, she will say, 'I have never received any good from you.'" We have enjoined on man kindness to his parents. In pain did his mother bear him, and in pain did she give him birth. The carrying of the child to his weaning is a period of 30 months. At length, when he reaches the age of full strength and attains 40 years, he says, "O my Lord, grant me that I may be grateful for thy favor which thou hast bestowed upon me, and upon both my parents, and that I may work righteousness such as thou mayest approve, and be gracious to me in my issue. Truly have I turned to thee, and truly do I bow to thee in Islam." A man came to the messenger and asked, "O Messenger of God, who is the person who has the greatest right on me with regards to kindness and attention?" The Prophet replied, "Your mother." "Then who?" "Your mother." "Then who?" "Your mother." "Then who?" "Your father." Even the Prophet Muhammad taught how important it is to respect women, so that we can think and stay away from every prohibition. The last thing is, in Islam, it is explained that heaven is said to be under the mother's feet, because it is so important to worship and respect our mother as an effort to worship God. This is a form of how God is very fond of women, for their efforts in educating their children. Even the prayers of God are counted as the charity of Uriah in the eyes of Allah.